Welcome to Studio 58A Live here at the Jamaica Information Service, our discussion program coming to you live on Facebook. I'm your host, Vaughn Davis. Thank you to everyone joining us online, wherever you are. We really do appreciate it. Thank you very much for your eyes. And like how we have your attention, do us a favor, no man. Share this video with a friend or 2 or 5,000 so we can have a very lively discussion. And as you watch, remember to send in your questions and your comments so we can put them to our guest. Now, when I was 15 years old and I had received my CXC results and found out that I had received a 2 in CXC math, which I consider perhaps one of the greatest achievements in my entire life, I decided to gather all my mathematics notebooks, took them out to the garbage bin, and had a little ceremony where I cursed math for being a real thorn in my side over the years. I mean, I was getting some properly bad grades. I mean, Anyway, we're not going to talk about that, right? I mean, I cursed math and I ceremonially put my notebooks in the garbage bin, representing the end of my relationship with the subject. So you can clearly understand that my relationship with math isn't great. You know, it wasn't so great. And I really don't think I am alone in feeling that way. But admittedly, that was a little while ago. And the reason for my feelings, I think, was because it often felt like you were either just good at it or not. You were just either good at math or you just weren't. And it was no middle ground, no in between. Nobody was encouraging me to say, no, man, you can do it, man. Don't just dismiss it. Work through it and you can get it. Now, thankfully, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information is working hard to change this situation. Through their annual Mathematics Week celebration, they are working to eliminate the widespread fear of the subject. It's being observed this week from March 28 to 31, and here to discuss some of the activities that took place, even in this time of COVID, is National Mathematics Coordinator, Dr. Tamika Benjamin. Welcome, Dr. Benjamin. How are you? Just unmute.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thanks for having me.
Right. So, Dr. Benjamin, like I said, me and maths, boy, we never have such a good, I have a better appreciation for math now. When I was a teenager, me and math, we never get along. It wasn't a good really. It was, we never get along. And so I now having gotten older, I can see what maybe the challenge was, that I really wasn't getting the kind of encouragement I probably needed. And so, it stuck with me, but you guys are trying to change this narrative. So talk to me about how we got to this point of National Mathematics Week and what's the overall objective of this week.
All right. The Math Week would have come out of one of the ministry's main program, the National Math Program. And we started initially in 2008 and then, fleshed the program out some more in 2012. Mm-hmm. And it's focused on some things. We want to improve how the subject is taught. We want to improve how students do in the subject. We want to change some of what you just said a while ago. Mm-hmm. Most important, we really want to change the culture surrounding the teaching and learning of math in Jamaica, where so many of our students, teachers, parents, have the narrative you just shared. That's their experience. And we want to help everybody recognize, one, it's important. Two, everybody can do it. It's not really about who is bright and who is not, and who can do math and who can't do math. So our focus for Math Week has traditionally been to help students see the relevance of it. We try to take it out of the classroom setting, because I think one of the reasons it might mean something different to you now is that you are seeing a little bit more of the ideas in your everyday life, and so it's sort of been demystified. You're not learning, you're not doing things in an abstract context, and you can't really say what's the purpose of this or how is this relevant to me. And as part of what we try to drive as well, in terms of how we encourage teachers to teach, to shake things up, and to make sure students understand they're just not learning to add, subtract, and multiply, divide, and those things, but we want them to see why they're learning it and how it is applicable and meaningful to them.
All right. Sounds good. I really like the approach, because I can honestly say I see a greater effort nowadays to get more students to appreciate the value that math brings. Because I mean, even as much as we knew that math was important, you needed to, and you know, understanding math was like the gateway to so many other subjects and doing well and so on. It's just like the fear, that initial fear, because you know, once math started graduating beyond 2 plus 2 or 2 times 10 into 2x plus 35 over pi multiplied by square at the square root of it just became like a whole different language. We just couldn't get it. And so, you know, there is that. So from where you sit and the fear of math, where do you think, you know, how does I want to ask you where you think it comes from, and you know, how are we, what are some of the specific strategies being utilized by the ministry to address it?
Well, I think it's cultural. You know, in the Asian context, where math is, you know, math and science drives their economy and their culture, from children are small, those subjects are driven. The parents talk about them. The students are helped to see the relevance and importance of them early. That's not a part of our culture. I think many of us have grown up and experienced not so positive experiences in the classroom. We've had not so positive experiences in the classroom. We've had parents who said, boy, we couldn't do it either. So me get a blind, that sort of a thing. And so I think generation after generation, it has seeped into our subconsciousness. I find in Jamaica, a lot of people have that view that, you know, only a certain set of people, you know, if I go somewhere and people ask me, you know, you teach? And I said, yes, I teach. And they ask what subject, and I take a deep breath because I just know exactly what's going to come after that. But there's this automatic assumption that you must be super bright, you know, because you do math and so on. So it's really been about breaking down that perception and helping students find enjoyment in it and recognize that and demystify the subject. So that's really been the focus of Math Week. And we started in 2013, and it has built up slowly. We missed it last year.
Yeah, you would be forgiven for last year because everything changed last year. So, you know, you get a blight for last year.
Yeah, but this year.
All right. Okay, seems to be.
Yeah, I think you lost me a little bit there, but
yeah, it's okay. You're back now. All right. So Math Week this week. Talk to me about what were some of the activities and so on that happened, and because I believe we're in the middle of it now. But you know, what was going?
No, it actually starts on Sunday.
Oh, Sunday coming. I thought we were into it. Yeah, go ahead.
Sunday.
Great.
And we usually would have had a church service, but so we'll do that virtual. Everything is virtual this year. And we have two main activities, well, three main activities, which, you know, are open to all persons to participate. Well, four. One is Make Math Loud challenge. So, you know, in this period, everybody is doing all these challenges from TikTok, and you know, we want to make sure that what we're doing, the students can relate to. But this challenge is not just for students. So even though I just said that, I just need to qualify that. And basically what we're asking persons to do is to just show how you use math in everyday life. A 1 to 2 or 1 minute video, I believe it is, you take and you post it with the hashtag Make Math Loud on either the ministry's Facebook or Instagram page, I believe. And we'll judge and we'll identify a winner, and we will share the winning video. That's the one with the most likes and shares in our main event for the week, which is a virtual math explosion. Now, traditionally, we would have had a math expo on the university. We've had up to 8,000 students participate in that event. Students would have been able to visit booths.
That's a little bit long, to be honest, but continue.
Yeah, because it's math. So we're 8,000 students going. But it's just because we've made that event something fun, something for them to look forward to over the years. They would have gotten an opportunity to visit booths mounted by private and public sector organizations showing math in their context. So they get to see it in banking, they get to see it in the shipping with the Port Authority and in the shipping field. They get to see it in meteorology. They bring down the instruments and, so they get to see it. Stock exchange, and it's a real life big event. And then we would do booths that are designed around some of the challenging concepts, but make them fun, make them applicable and engaging. So this year, we've had to go virtual. And so we'll have two math explosions, the virtual edition. On the Tuesday, we will have our primary students, and on the Wednesday, our secondary students. And the explosion will have games. There'll be a motivational talk by someone who struggled with math and is now doing well. Our minister will be participating live, so students who log on will be able to meet our Honorable Minister, Favour Williams. They'll be able to see some videos that we've had from some of our private sector partners in particular, sharing how math is used. So we've changed it up a little bit. So we have from bankers to insurance to carpenter, hairdresser. We've just had people showing in their space how they're using math. So that will be a feature of it as well. And it will really just be a couple hours of fun and games involving math. The big part of it for us is always to make the events enjoyable, because that's part of trying to change the experience and the perspectives of our students. And then we will join, I believe it is Two Life Crew on the Tuesday afternoon. They will have a 2-hour segment on Radio Jamaica. Right. And that's focused on just math questions. Prizes will be given away during that period. So that was really an effort to broaden the group of persons who could participate. We wanted to make sure that every Jamaican, because even though we're focusing on this as a school level activity, changing the culture means touching everybody's mindset. So we decided to do that. And then on the Thursday, we're hoping, I know we have some new restrictions in place, so we actually have our planning meeting in another couple of hours, and I'll be able to assess.
Switch some things around.
Right, so I'll be able to assess. But we were inviting it was 2 closed meetings, one with the Minister of Finance and some students, because our Minister of Finance, Honorable Nigel Clark, has his PhD in math. We were just talking about that, and we wanted to have some students who are doing well and actually have a hope of pursuing a career in math, engage him. And then we were inviting some of our hardworking teachers in a closed session with our minister as well. So we'll see if we're able to go through with all of the activities for the week. But those are our key activities.
It sounds like a fun, a nice, well-balanced set of activities. Sounds good. We have something for the children. Naturally, we have to include them because they're the one doing the test and so on, and actually doing the subject. You have your teachers, and through the outside broadcast, you get to interact with members of the public, and you bring it home and make it relatable in the various jobs and so on, the different occupations that people use math in ways that probably get overlooked because it just don't seem that technical or doesn't seem that quote unquote scientific. So yeah, it looks like a nice spread of activity.
Should mention, the theme of our campaign is math counts, but this year we decided to use a theme, born to do math, and that's because we really want to, as I said, change that perception that only some people can do it and only some people can do it well. So that's a part of how the conversation will be taking place over the course of the week.
All right, born to do math. So in case you're just tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, on live, we're discussing National Mathematics Week 2021. Dr. Benjamin, who's the National Mathematics Coordinator, which makes her one of the most impressive persons in the world, in my opinion. Just that title alone. National Mathematics Coordinator. Yeah, trust me. But anyway, we're talking about Mathematics Week 2021. She just outlined the range of activities that they have planned. I want you to get interactive with us. Talk to us about your experiences with math over the years on the live. Drop me some comments. Show me what you're feeling about mathematics. Tell me how you feel about the ministry's plan to try and get more persons to interact and have a better appreciation of math. I know many of you are like me. You probably started off not loving math so much, probably have some traumatic experiences with the subject in the past. But I'm sure you can appreciate that we need our students nowadays to start doing better at the subject if Jamaica is to truly reach its fullest potential as a nation. So talk to me. Let me know. Is there anything you want to talk to Dr. Benjamin about how we're working to make math more attractive to our youngsters and so on? So let's just show some love in the comments so we can see what's going on. All right. Good day to Merinda Ruddock, who wished us good afternoon. Thank you so much. Appreciated that. And Mel Goodison Smith, who did similar. Thank you. Thank you to the both of you for dropping your comments online. So I really appreciate that. All right. Now, Dr. Benjamin, make math loud. I'm very intrigued by the Make Math Loud challenge. Without necessarily putting handcuffs on people, I know you said they just have to kind of make it however math or how they use math in their everyday life and so on. So what would be some of the things that might catch your attention in a competition like this? How are they, demonstrating how math works? I mean, like I said, you don't want to put handcuffs on them to kind of narrow their focus because I guess you want them to be as creative as possible. But what would be something that would intrigue you from some of our youngsters in a competition like that?
Where the creativity might come in is how you present it. But I mean, if you think about it, there are just so many things to do. When we cook, we're using math, whether it's our measurements, whether we have to scale up our ingredients because it's not just mommy and daddy, but no, grandma and grandpa are here, auntie and uncle are here. So, you have your multiplication there. Farmers do it when they're plotting out their field and they have to determine how far apart they're going to plant. So even people in rural Jamaica can participate. When we're determining by what time we need to leave work to reach home before the curfew, right? That's also involving math right there. When we do our budget, or we check our bank account, regardless of how happy or sad it makes you feel, math is involved right there, so there's so many things. When we want to try and control our light bill or our water bill, we have to make some decisions in terms of usage, and we have to have an idea between the relationship with how much we use and what that bill is going to come up to at the end of the month. There really hardly is anything. I mean, when I asked my hairdresser to participate, part of why I asked her to participate is she makes products. And so she mixes. And so a lot of math is involved in that to make sure she gets the right consistency and her products are effective. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on. We're not looking for anything outrageous. But it's probably more how you may present it. Jamaicans we are naturally creative people. So I know I'm going to see some interesting things more in terms of the presentation, but we're not expecting, it's not necessarily the angle you take because we want it to be your angle, how you see math. It might be just how you decide to share that with us that will make the difference in making your video stand out above somebody else's.
So to be clear, is it open to both primary, primary, secondary, are there categories or so?
Adults, in fact, there's young and old, man and we don't care. Any Jamaican can participate. It's not a student activity. It's open to all Jamaicans, right? We want everybody to think about it and get involved.
All right, so there you have it, people. Yeah, I mean, it's not just for the students this time around. Come on, this sounds interesting. This sounds like something I might want to try. I might have to reenact that ceremony that I have and take the math book out of the garbage bin, dust it off.
So I was going to ask, what about that ceremony? Okay, I got you now.
Dust it off and then be like, yeah, you know what I mean? Math, I don't hate you anymore. I think we've come to an understanding that I need you and you know what I mean? In order to make a better life. So there are different ways you can take it. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing the different kind of creative energy that people will put into these things. Because I think there's going to be a lot. If you really put your energy behind it, a whole heap of creative videos can come out. And don't forget, everybody, hashtag make math loud. You know what I mean? You can work it out. Like that just comes to my mind. Some party or dance I keep, but I don't know if we can make it work in our COVID. But then the police come for lock it off, and they're like, no, we have to make them. And you know what? I'm not. You have to pay me for the idea, the junk people. I'm not gonna give away free ideas around here. All right, Dr. Benjamin. I'm sure many persons might be curious themselves to see what your what your work schedule is like as the math coordinator. What are some of the different things you're involved in at the moment, beyond National Math Week, of course, to try and explore how we can spread, like I said, raise appreciation for the subject and minimize the fear of the subject? Talk to me about what are some of the things you're overseeing at the moment to try and shift the narrative surrounding math with our children, with our people, actually.
Okay, so I mean, generally under the math program, we work with our schools. That's our target. We've been trying to focus our attention on really helping those schools that are struggling, because that's clearly where most of the struggling students are. And we work with our principals. We invest a lot of our time and energy with our teachers. We have 100 mathematics coaches deployed across the island. Clearly, COVID has impacted how they operate.
Yeah, of course. And with
they
classes not necessarily in session, I would imagine it's
right.
difficult.
So under normal circumstances, they would have gone into schools, they would have watched teachers, help them plan lessons, watch them teach, give them immediate feedback. It would have been a collegial activity, and it would be developmental. It's never meant to be punitive. It's really meant to build the teachers. And we would normally help the schools do pull-out sessions as well for students. On the ground in Math Week, schools would have their fairs, they would do all kinds of activities at their level as well, trying to promote math. Since COVID, our work really has focused to making sure the level of support that we have and the things we do are sustained, even with the shifts that have taken place. And so we've been doing a lot of webinars. We did one recently for CSEC students, helping them to handle their SBAs, because maybe about 4 years ago, I think in 2018, for the first time, mathematics had a SBA component attached to it, and we've been watching over the years and getting feedback that some of our teachers and students are still adjusting to it. So we decided this year we would normally do the workshop for the teachers, but we did it for the students this year as well. We try to be practical. We try to sense what's happening on the ground and respond to it. So we try to be flexible in how we operate, noting all the time what we're hearing, what we're seeing, and working from there. We have a campaign we're about to revive, make math loud. You see, it's all in my head.
All right, say it one more time just in case to let everybody know.
Make math loud, but our campaign is Math Counts. That was a campaign we would have launched for the first time, I believe, in 2014. And we're about to do a refresh on that across the island with some refresh the billboards and buses. We, as I said, our main aim is, as it relates to the campaign and the culture shift, is really not restricting our work to the schools, because if we work with the students but the parents don't get the message, it's not going to work. So we have to make sure that that message is sent out and is received by all. And I'll tell you, over time we have seen a shift. I remember when I first started working with the ministry, and I would go into a school and I'd speak to a group of students and I'd say, how many students like math? Open my eye, one eye to look, because you're not going to say a lot of students. But
you see more than one. Consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, man. Over time, that's changed, especially at the primary level. You see a lot of them responding. I mean, teachers have gotten creative. It's a journey, though. And so we continue to offer that ongoing support on the ground. So that's how our work is really around that, providing support at all levels. With COVID, and we went online, it meant teachers had to be using virtual manipulatives, which would be some of the resources they would use in the classroom, but now they had to be doing it virtually. We had to do webinars on that so that teachers could maintain the level of engagement and not, because we try to move away from lecturing, which is probably part of why you didn't like.
Yeah, I'm very certain that's why. I mean, I don't think I got the support I would have loved to, but these things happen. As I've gotten older, I appreciate now. I mean, the one good thing I will say I've been noticing is there's a more heavier reliance or heavier utilization of the digital tools that we have available. So now we can make it come alive in front of people. We can actually see if a person can run an experiment with using video, using different things, or examples from all over the world. So back in the day, it may not have been so easy, but nowadays it's easier to just bring up, you know, and work out an equation and work out the different parts and show you how it relates to whichever field and so on. So I'm seeing it in the primary schools and I'm seeing it in the high schools. So it's really coming alive now. Math is actually alive in you know, right before people's eyes. So yeah, I can see the work that's happening and the effort that's being made by the teachers, and of course the effort that's being made by you guys to foster a greater appreciation for the subject.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
All right. We have a couple of people wishing you a good day. We have Keisha Dwyer, Erica Thompson, and Ghulam Hussein Shah, who is saying, super, seems like keep up the good work. So our persons are showing you love online. Appreciate it.
Thank you much.
All right. I wanted to also ask, so in terms of, you know, are there any hard targets that you have in terms of what you want to see, or that you will be able to judge or measure the growth or the development as far as the appreciation of math is concerned going forward from the ministry's perspective?
We had a target, I have to say had, because we're reviewing our strategic plan, but the last target we had was 75% mastery at grade 4. In the plan that ended maybe 2 years ago, the last grade 4, we were at 70% mastery. That's good, but you know, we there's some issues. We can always, because remember, you will present that data, but we would always have much more in-depth data, so we would be able to see where we're having issues that really need to be addressed. CSEC has been our most inconsistent in terms of our attainment levels. We would want to see 65 to 70% of our students. Well, let me put it this way. We've broadened, the ministry has broadened how we measure attainment at grade 11 at the exit point. So we don't just report on CSEC, we consider also the City and Guilds level 3 assessment. And the aim is to really see every single student leaving secondary school with mathematics and an English qualification amongst 5. So they should have 5 things, 5 subjects. And that's been the most inconsistent at grade 11. The City and Guilds has been improving steadily, but the CSEC, still room for improvement. I believe in my own assessment, if we can help our teachers be more confident in designing and administering the SBAs, it will make a difference, particularly for students who don't like the exam context. And that's part of how the fear of math, it goes into the exam with them. I don't know if you remember, I think it was in 2018 or 19. There was a big thing about the CSET math paper, and everybody said it was a ad math paper and all kind of stuff.
Okay, wow.
I looked at the paper and I was like, no, there's nothing wrong with the paper, but some of the questions had been phrased differently, and that caused the students to panic. And that's part of why we try to say, don't teach to you know,
answer the question, you know?
Right. Because if it changes, then you're lost. But if you really understand what you're doing, you know, I like to give the example, you know, of my husband who is not from, he's lived in Kingston long enough now, but it's still a good example. When he first came to Kingston and he'd be driving, and I would drive a route from point A to point B, and he would drive this long route because he doesn't know Kingston. So he would stick to, you know, the main roads. That's kind of how I look at math. If you don't really understand what you're doing, you can't find alternatives. If you come up on a traffic jam or, you know, something you didn't expect, you're stuck on your route. And if you make an error, that's it. We have to teach in a way that allows students to really understand what they're doing and develop that flexibility. And so that's what happened that year. And students tend to preparing for CSEC, you know, take the past papers and
work them real hard, so expecting them to be similar, if not the same, you know what I mean?
And so part of the dialogue has to be and has been helping students move beyond that. So we do have a target. We want to see, I think it's 75% of the students leaving with at least 75, I should say, and we're not there yet. And that's one of the areas we continue to invest a lot of resources in, working with our secondary students. And helping them and helping their teachers.
All right,
So
but that
there are some hard topics.
you gave me a flashback a while ago when you were talking about that example with you and your husband. Boy, just remind me at the times like when you do a math test and somebody come on and said, "Yeah, man, we get 5 for the answer, you know," and I got like 106 or something. I was like, "Yeah, okay, I clearly was doing that different question." You know what I mean? So I appreciate the idea that if I had appreciated the wider concept more, I think maybe I would have been able to deduce or decipher the information a little bit better. So I can appreciate the thrust to make the children see math from a wider vantage point. So they just feel like the question, if you don't see 2 plus 2 equals, then you don't know what to do and get discombobulated. And I think also the fear of testing, I think I think perhaps math tests exist on a different level than, for example, whereas you can write something out and maybe you can buck shuffle and fumble through an explanation of a concept. Math is very hard. It is 1 plus 1 equals 2. And it's like people, when they get into the exam, you almost feel like if you make one slight mistake, it's throwing off the whole thing. And so you feel like you're so anxious to not make a mistake or to not, feel like you're way off base, that I think that contributes to the fear as well.
But that, that's a myth in the sense that certainly that's not how CXE marks, and that's not how we train teachers to mark. Okay. You can be marking and teaching for what we call the product, which is the answer, or you can teach for the process. And that's actually what CXE promotes, teaching for the process. So if you make an error in the first or in the second line, but your way of thinking as you express yourself, as you work through the question is sound, you will only lose a half mark or 1 mark for that incorrect step or whatever you made, but you will not get 0. And that's one of the reasons why we encourage teachers to encourage students from very early to show your thinking. Don't just put down the answer, but actually let me see what you're thinking. Get in the habit of showing what you're thinking, putting out those steps, as we tend to call them. And if you make an error, you'll get penalized for the error, but you won't get 0. And so a lot of students don't go into the exam and know that. So the pressure to have every single thing right, actually most of the marks are awarded for your thinking than they are for your actual answer.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I think you just took like about 500 pounds of weight off several children's backs a while ago.
If you went in a CSEC exam and you just wrote down all the right answers to the questions, I can guarantee you that you are not going to get a grade 1.
Do you hear that, children?
And if every answer you wrote was correct and you got to the end of that paper, every question, I think the right answer, maybe a half to a 1 mark, you're not going to get a grade 1, even though everything was correct, because they actually mark the process. Right, and marks are awarded for the process.
I'm really glad you said that, because I used to always literally think math is black and white. It's that simple. Is either the question wrong, you got the answer wrong, you got it right, and that's simple. I mean, being able to demonstrate, like at least that you factor in my thought process and showing you how I arrived at my answer. That's
more important. Yeah,
that does make me feel a whole lot better. Like I'm not even the one taking the exam.
If you think about it, though, education on a whole has moved away. Because I have a Alexa in my house, and I can ask Alexa anything I want. What is being able to say something demonstrating? It's really not. Knowledge is probably the least valued right now as it relates to education, because it's just available everywhere. What's more important is your ability to think, reason, and problem solve. And that's why you will see that shift towards paying attention to how you think, how you're reasoning. So that's generally where education has gone, and people can relax a little bit and just show how you're thinking.
So, Ms. Dr. Benjamin, do you spend any time in our nation schools? Because I think you need to go and have like a service where you just say, look, children, look, and relax. Just relax now. Just tell them halfway, just tell them a while ago. I guarantee you will see the face, the body language, everything will shift.
Maybe that's a part of the messaging. Yeah, maybe that's a part of the messaging we can do more. But if I personally have been in the schools.
Yes. Because if I had you as a maths teacher, I would have feel. I mean, I don't think my grades would have been what they were. This is why I'm in media.
I taught for 5 years at Wilma's Girls. Interesting.
Why you couldn't go? But you say I was at Wilma's Boys. This is not fair. This is not fair at all. The boys need the help too.
Wilma's Girls, yes. Yeah, and I enjoy teaching. I mean, over the years, I've done a little bit of it. I don't do that much of it now, but I enjoy teaching, and I don't teach my children, but I teach other children.
Right. So, I mean, if the National Mathematics Coordinator is telling you, children and parents, to focus on the process just as much as you try and focus on getting the answer right or wrong, focus on the process, and that's what's going to determine your final grade. Then you need to start. I mean, I don't think I don't think you need a better explanation than that. Focus on learning the entire concept that you're trying to learn. Right. Don't just swat the process for one particular situation, and then hopefully you hope that the question is asked in the same way, and then you might be able to do the question right. You know what I mean? Just focus on the process as well. So you might actually be better able to answer the question and just represent yourself well in that exam. Right. Let me just show some quick love to Tashane Williams, saying, great work, Doc. Region 5 celebrates our virtual math day, Friday, March 26th, under the theme Mathdemic. Perfectly applicable. Mathdemic, making math prevalent across the region. So he wants to make the love for math spread like COVID. That's the best way to approach it. You know what I mean? So
those are members of my team on the ground, always trying to be creative and effective and get the message out. So congrats to Region 5.
All right, Region 5, keep doing what you're doing. Sounds like your heads are in the right place in terms of trying to, be current, be ready and resonate with the youngsters in the right way. So keep up the good work and keep on doing what you're doing. Mitzi Ann Jackson is saying, well said, Dr. Well, she said a lot of things. I suspect she appreciates most of what you said. So keep up the good work. So at this point, I want to just go back over the different activities that we have planned for Math Week so a person can look out for them again. So go ahead for me.
All right. So on Sunday, we join Webster Memorial United Church in their church service at 8 o'clock. And you can log on via their YouTube page. And then on the 30th, we have an afternoon segment on RGR 2 Live Crew, 2-hour math segment with games and prizes and lots of surprises. So we can join in on that one. In the morning, we will have our virtual primary mathematics explosion that will be online using Zoom. And the ministry's bulletin has gone out and the links will be shared widely there afterwards. And we'll be able to participate in a wide variety of activities, games, motivational talks, engage our minister or Honorable Minister of Education. And the same will be repeated for secondary students on March 31. And then on the 1st of April, as long as we're able to, we will host 2 closed sessions, one for students with the Honorable Minister of Finance and one for teachers with the Honorable Minister of Education.
All right, and don't forget, people, I'm definitely endorsing the Make Math Loud Challenge.
Oh, thanks. I totally forgot. See, you're helping me today.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then we have the Make Math Loud challenge where we're inviting all Jamaicans, this is not just for students, to send in a 1-minute video. Creativity is going to count, showing us how you use math in your everyday life. And you can upload the video to the ministry's Facebook or Instagram page using the hashtag #MakeMathLoud.
And I would definitely...
Entries close at midnight on the 28th, yes.
Midnight on the 28th, all right? So people start getting the wheels turning in your mind so you can create something good right away. I would suggest maybe showing children, showing their, not so math-loving parents like us how to work through a situation and find the right answer, figure a situation out. Trust me, you have many parents right now. If you imagine trying to teach it, it's like I'm going through it now. Even though my daughter is she's just 6, so our math work is pretty easy. But I'm just imagining when she starts going to high school and having to help her with our math homework and so on.
It'll be good.
To try to approach it with a spirit of openness and confidence. She's not going to have to worry. Daddy will help her to understand quadratic equations.
And you will give her the right messaging. You will tell her you can do it. You will help to break that down and break that cycle as well.
I'm definitely going to try because, like I said, I think Jamaica this is a conversation that needs to happen. I think for too long it was overlooked. We have to get our people appreciating the value of math and the value of math itself in the overall process of development and nation building. We have to be able to attack those complex and sophisticated issues and complex problems that a knowledge of math will definitely help us to appreciate. I mean, like you said, Dr. Nigel Clark, our finance minister, has a PhD in math. He's the one controlling the purse strings for the country. I'm very glad he has a PhD because it is not an easy job that he has over there. I do not grudge him that job any at all. So it's great to know that he has the necessary expertise to carry it on successfully. Yeah. I mean, and right about now, there's so much information, especially surrounding financial literacy and what that means and generational wealth and so on. We all have to appreciate when it comes to things like stocks, bonds, investing, and doing so many things. If we really want to make or have the kind of lives and live the kind of lifestyles that we want, you have to appreciate the value of math in order to do that. Trust me, you can't begin to start making those kind of plans unless you understand math. So it's worth your while. It will change your life if you apply the principles in the correct way. All right. One piece of advice I would definitely recommend that you guys add TikTok to the Make Math Loud challenge, because I think that's the site or the platform that really works when it comes to these kind of challenges.
I'll get on that right now.
All right. So there you have it, guys. Math Week is looking like a real interesting week, looking like a lot of fun activities planned. The ministry is doing their part to help the nation's people appreciate the value of math. And, it reward their efforts by supporting the various activities. You have your church service, you have the different the math explosions, you have the challenge. So you can see that they're really making a concerted effort to make it relatable to everybody. It's not just a bunch of people sitting in our own room and says, we're going to have a talk about mathematics. And, you see a drop of the equation and everybody switches up. There's real effort going on there. So I would recommend that I would really encourage you guys to support and just check in and see what they're doing, because it's not an easy task and they need all the support they can get. All right. So I'm going to give the last word to you, Dr. Benjamin. Final appeal, let the public know what the National Math Unit is working on and how you're working to raise their appreciation for math and what basically you want them to know and how they can support you as you guys do the work that you're doing now.
So, I just want to say to all Jamaicans, our theme for this year is Born to Do Math, and we really want to get that message out. I'm a math educator, but I didn't have a wonderful start. It requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of encouragement, I want to say. So our parents, our teachers, our students will all have a part to play in supporting Jamaica's transformation by ensuring that more and more of us are equipped to do math. And so as we celebrate National Mathematics Week next week, we want to make sure that we all buy into that theme. We all understand it. It's not about whether you can do it at the university level, but we are all born to do math. And so I'm encouraging everybody to get involved in even one of the activities, whether it's a church service, the radio program, the math explosion, or the Make Math Loud challenge. But let us see if we can get our students excited and to build their confidence in themselves and in their ability to do math. Because as I said, we're all born to do math.
All right, that's true. We're all born to do math. How do you think the civilization has survived to present day and all the different things? People building these websites that we're on all day, Instagram, Facebook, and all. You think they don't know math? You have to know math to do some of these things. I mean, in the height of COVID, people making these vaccines and so on, the scientists, you think them don't know math? Imagine if we didn't have them around. Imagine if everybody would kiss them teeth and said, math's too hard, me can't bother. Where would the COVID vaccines come from? Math is serious. I mean, it's in our own best interest as a people, as humans, to just understand the concept. Don't kiss your teeth. Don't leave it to the quote unquote bright sparks over there. So You can do it too. Believe in yourself. Trust me. All right. So online we have Deaconess Sweetness Idosin. I hope I got that right. If not, let me know. She's saying she can't wait to be a part of the activities. So I'm sure Dr. Benjamin appreciates that, and the whole ministry appreciates that. So thank you for that support. Ansos Dwyer is a bunch of emojis, which praying hands, what seems to be a money bag and some hearts. So I'm going to interpret that to mean yes, she supports you and she appreciates the value of math to bring financial wealth, and she's praying for support for the overall success of the week. Right? So that's my interpretation. I don't know. Maybe I might have a second calling. Anyway. All right. Shanice Grant says indeed and says, hi, Dr. Benjamin. Great job. Way to go. So people showing you love and appreciating the work that you are doing. All right, people. I think we're going to pull up stumps here. Math week, March 28 to 31. Lots of activities. Must be one you might like and be able to participate in. More information, I would imagine, is available on the ministry's website or the social media pages. Just check them out. Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. You get all the information there. All right. Thank you to everyone who tuned into our discussion, especially those of you who sent in your questions and your comments. We really do appreciate that. And if you have a question and we didn't get to answer it before, you can send it in all the same, and we'll go through afterwards and be able to send you the right information. If not, we'll be able to contact Dr. Benjamin and see if we can make some connection so you can get the right info. Remember, our audience plays a major part in our show. So if there's anyone in particular you'd like us to have in studio, let us know. And we'll try as best as possible to have that person in studio soon. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Information Service to see who will be in studio next. We do this live every week on Facebook. I've been your host, Vaughn Davis, and this has been Studio 58A Live. Thank you again for joining us, and please have a wonderful day. Take care now, everyone.
Thank you, Vaughn. Thank you.
Take care.
All right.